I actually went back to college and got my degree. Yeah. Yeah. Only 46 years later. So if you got a kid on the 5-6 year plan, relax. Yeah, I just got tired of being the only person in our family didn't have a degree. And also because the first time I went to college, it did not go well. Actually, I shouldn't say that. It went great, just not for studies. Because, see, you got to understand something. When I was a kid, I was a parent's dream. I didn't smoke, drink, I didn't cuss, I didn't bust my curfew. They loved me. I got to college, it was like, oh, this is a whole new ball game here. And I'll never forget this as long as I live. First semester, when I was in 75, me and my dorm mate were sitting in our beanbag chairs, and he looked at me and he said, you know, in college, they don't take roll. I said, do what? He goes, yeah, they don't even care if you go to class. I go, well, me and college are going to get along just fine. Not realizing you don't go to class, you don't learn nothing. Y'all, my first semester grade point average was .76. That's lower than dumb. Oh, and then I discovered women and beer, and studies went right out the window. So I dropped out. Well, now fast forward, my son was getting ready to go off to college, and I thought, you know what? This would be a good learning experience for him. So I sent off for my transcripts. And they came, and one morning we were having breakfast before he left to go off to college. And I slid that transcript across the table. I said, take a look at that, son. He goes, good God, Dad, .76? I said, that's right. I said, that's what happens when you don't go to class. I said, your only job for the next 4 years is just to go to class. Because if you'll just sit there, something will sink in. Apparently I was wrong. Because he didn't do too well his first semester, but then he got it together. Well, now fast forward again, I'm getting ready to re-enroll in Grand Canyon University down in Arizona, and I was going to get a degree in Christian studies. And I had to retake a lot of classes because I'd done so poorly in them the first time. And one of them was a college math class. Now, I'm going to tell you a story. You may not believe this, but I graduated high school with no math at all. Yeah, I think it's illegal now. But here's what happened. In junior high, we had algebra. I loved algebra. I don't know why it sat with me so well, but I just really enjoyed it. Well, then we got to high school, and we had geometry. And I hated geometry because of one thing. Remember proofs? Yeah, where you had to get the answer, but then you had to show how you got the answer. And my thought was, no. I got the answer, give me the damn credit. What do you care how I got it? What am I going to write down? Looked over my buddy's shoulder? I look at it this way. If you're a plumber and I hire you to fix my broken toilet, I don't care what steps you take to fix it, just get it flushing again. That's the way I looked at geometry. And if someone had just asked me, what's the problem? I'd have said, look, I don't understand it. I don't like it. Instead, the great state of Texas Board of Education decided that I had a learning disability. My senior year, they put me in a remedial math class. Well, that was me and 6 other idiots sitting in a room with these gigantic headphones on, and this pre-recorded voice would go, 2 + 2 is... Four? You're smart. Well, hell, I aced that. Well, now I re-enroll in college, and I got to retake, they assume that you've had algebra 1, 2, and 3, and 4, geometry 1, 2, and 3, trigonometry, physics. I'd had none of that. So now I'm in a class that they're wanting me to do logarithms and Excel, and I thought, I'm not going to get my damn degree because I can't pass a math class. I thought, oh, I know what I'll do. I'll get Gail to help me. She got straight A's in college. My friends, it was at that point in my life that I realized my wife will never be a tutor. She does not have the patience for it. This would be a typical conversation between me and her. Baby, I don't understand how they got the answer to that math problem. She goes, well, how can I make it any easier? It's right there in front of you in black and white. And I go, I don't care if it's on pink paper with blue polka dots. I don't know how they got that answer. She goes, well, what do you want me to do? I go, tell me how they got the answer. She goes, well, then that'd be cheating and you haven't really learned anything because it's just me doing the math problem in it. So how do we deal with this? I said, here's how we deal with it. You're fired. And then I got a real tutor and he got me through it. But here was my question. I was getting a Christian studies major. Why does a Christian studies major even need a math class? Right? All I need to know is there was 12 apostles, 10 commandments. He spent 3 days in a grave. Boom, aced it. And I did the whole thing online for two reasons. One, because I was still touring. But two, I didn't want the other kids to know how old I was. But I think I might have blown that when I would ask questions like, what's TikTok? To me, it's the sound a clock makes. That's all I know. Well, so what would happen is the professor would email us a problem. We'd do the problem and then email it back to him. One night I got this problem. It said, can you solve for X? And I wrote back, maybe. If you can solve for Y. As in, why the hell do I need to know this mess? When I finally knew I was going to pass the class, I called the professor in his office. I said, I've been wanting to ask you something since I started this class. He said, what's that? And I said, well, my time on this planet's up, and I go to meet St. Peter. I said, is he going to give me a math problem to do? He said, probably not. And I said, so you're telling me then that this university has a stricter admissions policy than heaven does? He didn't find that too funny. But to show you what an idiot I am, while I was still enrolled in college, the college classes, one night Gail and I were lying in bed, and I rolled over to her and I said, well, I guess you can tell your friends that you're sleeping with a college boy now. She goes, you know what, that's gross. And that right there, my friends, is the difference between men and women. Because there's a lot of reasons why at my age I would not sleep with a college girl. But I can tell you for a fact that gross ain't one of them. And the best thing about taking classes as an adult, if you fail a test, your thought is, hell, I got a job. Tell you what I should have done. Should have taken a class in cell phones and technology. God, I am so far behind the 8 ball on this. I know now what my dad felt like when VCRs first came out. Would your parents do that? Just stare at it like, what's that blinking red light? That's the time. You have to set the time. I don't get it. That's me now. I'm telling you all the time. Like a buddy of mine called me. I was in this football pool, and he was the head of it, and he said, I'm going to Venmo you your money. I said, what? What the hell's Venmo? He goes, that's how I'm going to send you your money. I go, you might as well burn it, because I have no idea how to get it, so. I don't understand this stuff. The only technology that I really like, and it's amazing to me, is Uber. It's insane, it's magical. I could be anywhere in the world. I can call my wife, 10 minutes later, a car picks me up and takes me to where I want to go, and the guy doesn't ask me for money. My lovely wife, and I said, I got COVID, and she goes, okay. She goes, just come on home and go on into the guest bedroom. Oh yeah, she's not giving up the master, are you kidding? And so I got home, and y'all, I was just freaking out. Because I had heard all the horror stories, people losing their taste and their smell, and sadly, some people died from it. So I'm waiting for the COVID wave just to come crashing down on me. I gotta tell you something. That first night I was back at the house, I slept the whole night. Not once was I awakened by my wife snoring. And I love her to death, but this woman can throw down some snoring. I'm not talking little kitten purring. I'm talking Night of the Walking Dead. This is what I would try to go to sleep to every night too. It's like, are you killing a whale next to me? So I gently rub her on the back, and push her out of bed. But she always wakes up when she hits the floor. And then she looks at me and goes, what are you doing? I go, baby, you're snoring. She goes, no, I'm not. I'm wide awake. Well, now you are. A second ago, you were sucking paintings off the wall. And then has the audacity to look me in the eye and say, maybe it was you snoring, you just woke yourself up. Yeah, let's go with that, psycho, because that makes so much more sense. But not that night, gang. I slept the whole night. Got up next morning, breakfast was outside the door. I ate it, put my dishes back out there. 10 minutes later, dishes was gone. That day I watched every Andy Griffith and Gunsmoke rerun I could find without somebody standing over me going, why do you watch that stuff? Because Opie just killed a mother bird. That's why we're watching this. That night, dinner showed up. Took it in the bedroom, ate, put my dishes back outside. The little dish trays took it away. I got to be honest with you. I didn't see a bad side to this whole COVID thing. It was kind of like being at a spa. But that's the problem. And I hate being this way. I hate being a hypochondriac because it's not fun because you're always worried about death. A cold, okay, I'm gone. True story. Every year, Gail and I would get our physical and we'd get our blood work done, just in case there was something, we could stay on top of it. So this happened this year. We got our physicals, got our blood work done. 4 days later, I'm out playing golf. 5 o'clock in the evening, I get back in the golf cart, I see a message from the doctor, a voicemail. And this is what it said. You need to call us as soon as possible. What the hell does that mean? I'll tell you what it means. I'm dying. That's what it means.